fleet was doomed until humans changed everything. HFY sci-fi stories. The stars had forgotten them. For 2 weeks, the Zalari refugee fleet drifted like grave markers in the void between spiral arms, silent and broken. Once they had cut through the dark with grace, their ships elegant arcs of living metal and starlight. Now they hung motionless, flickering with dying power, like embers choking in an airless room. Commander Solera stood at the forward observation deck of the Valsar, her flagship, staring into the abyss. Her reflection, tall with opalescent skin that shimmered faintly like moonlight on water, met her gaze in the thick glass. But her eyes, once radiant, now held only exhaustion. "Status?" she asked quietly, voice steady despite the weight she carried. Her second, Soren, checked his tablet, his crystalline features dulled with worry. "Life support efficiency is at 32%. 3 more systems collapsed last night. Another 15 children perished aboard the Culebra." Solera closed her eyes. There were over 1 million souls spread across 76 vessels. Artists, scientists, architects, children, not soldiers. Their flight from the Corvani genocide had been desperate and unprepared. What was once a civilization of peace had become a fleet of survivors slowly suffocating in the dark. "Any response to our low-frequency beacons?" "None," Soren said. "We're too far beyond the main lanes. Either no one hears us or no one cares." Solera turned back to the stars. Somewhere out there, the Corvani warfleet still searched. A distress call could save them or doom them all. She needed a miracle. 3 parsecs away, Captain Elias Wren sipped synthetic coffee aboard the UHS Osprey. Unlike most ships in the human deep exploration corps, the Osprey was older, smaller, and filled with enough quirks to keep a dozen engineers grumbling. But Elias loved her. She'd survived things bigger, faster ships hadn't. "Captain," said Lieutenant Kamara Lin from the science console, "I'm picking up some kind of quantum echo on the edge of our range. It's fragmented, but definitely artificial." Elias raised a brow. "Show me." The main screen flickered, displaying a web of weak signals. Dozens of them, clustered like a shattered constellation. No clear language, no standard codes. "Could be derelicts," Kamara said. "Or a trap." Elias stared at the pattern. They weren't drifting randomly. There was a structure, a shape. "No trap looks that symmetrical. Set a course. Long range only. Let's see what ghosts haunt the dark." As the Osprey shifted direction, no one aboard could have known they were about to rewrite galactic history. The Osprey emerged from sublight drift just beyond the perimeter of the Zalari fleet. "We're here," Kamara announced, her voice hushed as if afraid to disturb the silence outside. On the view screen, alien vessels drifted in eerie suspension. Long, flowing forms shaped like ocean creatures from Earth's deep past, manta-like hulls, ribboned extensions, glowing faintly blue. "Scan them all," Elias said. "Life signs, power signatures, anything." Kamara's fingers moved fast, her screen lit with pulses. Multiple life signs across most ships, thousands per vessel, maybe more. Power levels critical, life support failing. "But," she leaned closer, "Captain, these aren't abandoned wrecks. They're dying, alive and dying." Elias stood, pacing slowly toward the main display. "Hail them. All frequencies. All languages." They tried again and again. Static, garbled responses. No clear return. "Could be incompatible tech," Kamara suggested, "or they're too weak to respond." "Try base signal tones," Elias ordered. "Old style, patterns, rhythms, something universal." The ship's comms broadcast a simple sequence. Pulse, pause, pulse, pulse, pause, then a shimmer. One of the alien ships responded. A low harmonic tone, like a whale's song through crystal. Kamara's eyes widened. "They heard us. They're responding. Put it on speaker." The bridge filled with sound, melodic, haunting. Not words, feelings. Dr. Amina Rice, the ship's xenolinguist, entered from the med bay, drawn by the noise. "That's language," she whispered. Emotive frequency layers. They're speaking in tone, not syntax. Can you decode it? Eventually, she said, but I don't need to translate the emotion. That's sorrow, desperation, hope. Elias turned to the screen, the dying fleet now feeling less like an anomaly and more like a cry for help frozen in space. Let them know we're here to help. Make that emotion clear. Use music. Amina improvised a response using human classical tones layered with harmonic modulations. The osprey sang into the void. Another pause. Then every ship in the alien fleet responded at once, a wave of gentle tones like an ocean of mourning voices. And within the wave, a single phrase translated by Amina's AI assistant. "Who are you?" Elias answered without hesitation. "We're human, and we're not leaving you behind." In the command core of the Vial-SAR, Salira clutched the translator relay, eyes locked on the new signal. A new species, unknown patterns, but not hostile. "They speak through harmony," Soran said, astonished. "Like us. Different instruments, but similar logic. A song of compassion," Salira whispered. "Prepare a shuttle. I will meet them myself." Hope, fragile as spun glass, returned to the fleet like a long-lost star. Above the shattered fleet, the Osprey waited, and humanity prepared to offer the one thing the galaxy had long forgotten: unconditional help. The Zalari shuttle approached the Osprey like a ghost drifting from the bones of a lost civilization. Its surface shimmered with patterns like veins under translucent skin, and its energy signature barely registered, a whisper on the sensors. Elias Wren stood at the airlock, flanked by Dr. Amina Rice and two members of the security team, not because he expected danger, but because diplomacy required presence, authority. He smoothed his jacket, aware of the history crystallizing around them. The airlock hissed open. Warm light spilled in. The figure that stepped forward was tall, graceful, clad in flowing fabric that pulsed gently with bioreactive light. Her skin shimmered like liquid crystal, and her eyes, deep and ancient, held the weight of 1,000 tragedies. "I am Commander Salera of the Zalari," she said in near-perfect English, each word carrying a musical undertone. "You heard us. You answered." Elias inclined his head. "Captain Elias Wren, UHS Osprey. Welcome aboard." Salera stepped forward and the two leaders met in the middle of the corridor, alien and human, two threads of a future not yet written. In the Osprey's central briefing chamber, the tension melted under a mutual recognition. These were survivors. Fighters not with weapons, but with resilience. "Your message," Salera began, "was the first hope we have felt since the fall of Tyrannus. We have fled across sectors, our young starving, our elders silent with despair. We did not expect mercy." Dr. Rice leaned forward. "Why were you attacked? What did the Corvani want?" Salira's face tightened. "What they always want: obedience, assimilation. We refused. Our culture, our freedom, those things were non-negotiable." Kamara Lin entered with new data. "Captain, updated scans confirm over 1 million life signs across the Zalari fleet. Approximately 40% are children. Their food replicators are failing. Oxygen systems degraded. They have days. Maybe." Elias didn't hesitate. "We start triage immediately. Medkits, rations, portable scrubbers. Kamara, coordinate with their engineers. See what systems we can patch." Salera placed a hand over her heart, bowing slightly. "You risk much. You owe us nothing." "You're wrong," Elias said. "We owe the galaxy more than history has made us believe. Maybe this is where we start paying that debt." The next 48 hours blurred into motion. Osprey's crew worked in shifts, distributing medical supplies, jury-rigging power conduits, even teaching basic repair techniques using gesture-based translators. Zalari vessels that had once been silent coffins now flickered with tentative life. Cries of children were met with lullabies, not static. Engineering decks echoed with the sounds of human laughter and alien songs blending together. Kamara knelt beside a Zalari technician, both of them elbow-deep in coolant coils. "What's your name?" The Zalari blinked, voice soft. "Veason." "Nice to meet you, Veason. Let's save some lives." In the shadows beyond the system, something stirred. A single Corvani scout ship, cloaked in advanced shielding, drifted among the asteroids. Its commander watched the humans with growing curiosity. "Send a pulse to command," the Corvani ordered. "The prey has found new protectors. Let us see if they are willing to bleed for them." The message screamed through subspace. War was listening, and it had heard the song of compassion. The Zalari called it Katan Tar, the dark tide, a phrase they used to describe the moment when hope dims to a whisper and the night seems endless. Aboard the UHS Osprey, hope was fragile but defiant. Elias Wren barely slept. Each hour brought new updates. Children stabilized, air recycling systems patched, ship cores reignited with jury-rigged solutions. But every fix was a race against entropy. The Zalari fleet had been built for beauty, not endurance. Grace had turned to fragility. Dr. Rice moved between vessels like a phantom, her portable diagnostic gear glowing as she treated wounds, diseases, and malnutrition, many of which Earth had no names for. She logged everything, and she cried, often. "Captain," Kamara said, pulling Elias from his command station. "Long-range sensors just picked up something. Something big." Elias straightened. "Define big." She tapped the console. "Mass signature consistent with a Corvani dreadnought. It's still 2 days away, but it's coming fast." The room chilled. Solara was present, seated quietly in the corner. "They found us," she whispered. "They never stop hunting." The Council of Earth Command responded within hours of Elias's emergency transmission. So, President Halden's face filled the screen. He looked older than his years, weighed down by leadership. "Captain Wren, your report has been verified. I'm authorizing emergency deployment of humanitarian support and limited defense assets." "Limited?" Elias asked. "We're not ready for a war, not yet, but the public, when they saw the first images..." He paused, clearly shaken. "You've changed the conversation, Elias. People are demanding we help. Help without conditions. You bought us time, and maybe something more." "Then we'll use it," Elias said. As the Corvani dreadnought surged closer, a strange calm took over the Osprey. Solara stood beside Elias on the bridge. "We do not expect you to die for us," she said. "Then let's make sure we all live instead." A new operation began. Operation Threadlight, named after the fine line between survival and extinction. Every available shuttle was repurposed for evacuation or stabilization. Engineers from both species worked together in pressurized suits, splicing technology with bare hands. Hybrid interfaces, shared knowledge, co-learning. Zalari children were moved to the most stable ships. Human medics set up makeshift clinics in glass halls that once hosted symphonies. In those same halls, now filled with stretchers and IVs, the Zalari began to sing again. Not in sorrow, but in thanks. Elias recorded it all, knowing history was being written in real time. Then the Corvani dreadnought dropped from FTL. It was massive, sleek, obsidian black, bristling with weapons that pulsed with unreadable energy. Silent. Watching. "No hails," Kamara said. "They're not here to talk," Solara murmured. "Then we make them listen," Elias replied. He opened a direct broadcast. "This is Captain Elias Wren of the United Human Ship Osprey. We have Zalari civilians under humanitarian protection. We will not stand down. We will not abandon them." A long pause, then a single reply. "Then you will burn with them." The channel cut. "Red alert," Elias ordered. "All hands, brace for engagement." But even as alarms blared, a calm resolve filled the bridge. They had chosen this fight not for victory, but for principle, for mercy. And the price of mercy they would pay together. The first strike came without warning. A beam of compressed plasma tore through the upper hull of a Zalari medical frigate, the Keleneth, slicing it like parchment. Explosions rippled across its spine. Dozens died in seconds. "Direct hit!" Kamara shouted. "Shields are holding, barely." Elias gripped the edge of the console. "Return fire. Focus on defensive coverage. We buy time, not victory. The Osprey and the hastily armed Zalari support vessels moved as one, forming a defensive lattice around the remaining transports. Lasers and kinetic shells arced through space like artificial auroras. The Corvani dreadnought pressed forward, efficient, merciless. 3 more incoming fighters, Kamara called. They're targeting the Veil Sar, Solera's ship. Get them off her, Elias growled. The Osprey banked hard, engines howling. Its point defense cannons flared, striking 2 Corvani fighters mid-charge. The third dodged until a Zalari freighter rammed it head-on, sacrificing itself. A moment of silence followed. Who was that? Rice asked quietly. Sauron's voice came over the comm, cracked with grief. That was Keltarian. Civilian transport. They gave their lives to buy seconds. Seconds they desperately needed. Across the fleet, a new sound began to rise. The Zalari sang. It began with a lone voice, an engineer patching coolant lines in vacuum. Then another. Soon the comms were filled with a chorus, not of despair, but of defiance. Dr. Rice listened, stunned. They're broadcasting frequencies resonant with human EM shielding. They're reinforcing our systems. With song. Elias turned to Kamara. Match the modulation. Let them carry our frequencies too. The alliance became literal. Music and math, emotion and engineering. Humanity and the Zalari synced in resistance. Still, the dreadnought advanced. A second wave of Corvani bombers launched. Captain, Kamara shouted. We won't last another round. Elias hit the command channel. All remaining power to forward shields. Prep for emergency push. Target the dreadnought's main cannon. If we die, make it count. But then a new signature appeared on the sensors. Multiple. Kamara's voice broke. Jump signals, 10. No, 15 human vessels dropping from FTL. The screen flared with light. Earth fleet vessels, frigates, destroyers, medical ships, roared into the fray. The dreadnought reeled from the sudden impact. Rescue Group Alpha reporting, came a calm voice over the line. Captain Wren, you look like you could use a hand. Elias exhaled, tension evaporating. Better late than never, he said. The tide turned quickly. With combined might of Earth and Zalari coordination, the Corvani forces were driven back. The dreadnought limped, shields shattered, then jumped to retreat, leaving the field behind. Cheers erupted through the fleet. But Elias didn't cheer. He turned to Solera, her image blinking in from her battered command ship. This isn't over, is it? She shook her head slowly. No, but now we're not alone. The battle was over, but no one celebrated for long. The Osprey's medbay overflowed. Human and Zalari medics worked shoulder to shoulder, tending to wounds that defied translation. Crystalline blood pooled beside a synthetic fiber. Every table, every corridor echoed with the urgency of survival. Captain Elias Wren stood at the viewport, watching the remaining Corvani vessels retreat beyond sensor range. Behind him, Solera entered, slower than usual. Her right arm was bound in a shimmering brace. Nerve damage, Rice had said. 17 ships lost, she murmured. And yet, we live. We live, Elias echoed, because we chose to stand together. She studied his reflection. You humans, you fight like wildfire, chaotic, consuming, impossible to predict. And yet you do not burn to destroy. You burn to protect. Fire can warm, Elias said, not just consume. The following day, Admiral Reyes of Earth Fleet called a strategic summit aboard the Osprey. Representatives from every surviving Zalari vessel gathered, alongside humans in battered uniforms and soot-streaked faces. A 3D star map rotated above the table. Points of interest, threats, possibilities. We have 4 days before Corvani reinforcements arrive, Reyes said. Scouts confirm another battle group en route. Heavier firepower, no diplomacy. Solera stepped forward. We cannot run again. Not with wounded, not with children. We must make this place our stand. Or our sanctuary. Reyes nodded. Agreed. But to hold this sector, we need more than soldiers. We need an alliance. We need to formalize what's already begun. There was a pause. Then Elias spoke. Let's build it here. Not just a temporary defense, but the foundation of something better. A united front, not of empires, but of people. Within hours, plans began. Zalari engineers sketched out schematics using light-weaving tools. Human tech officers matched them with alloy blueprints. Together, they designed something neither could have imagined alone, a hybrid defense grid capable of shielding the entire sector. Celera met with cultural liaisons. Rice organized mixed-species med teams. Kamara and Visan, once strangers, led an initiative to convert wrecked hulls into living quarters, classrooms, places of growth. Even the youngest helped. Zalari children taught human ones how to sing frequencies that soothe minds. Human kids, in turn, showed them how to build with blocks and break things just to understand how they worked. Trust grew not in declarations, but in sweat, song, and shared silence. By the third day, a news station floated at the center of the fleet. Hastily built, part human alloy, part Zalari crystal. It shimmered like hope made tangible. Elias stood on its newly forged command deck beside Celera, Reyes, and representatives of every ship. This is the line, he said. Not drawn in blood, but in belief. That compassion matters. That unity is strength. Celera raised a small beacon, their first shared technology. From this day, she declared, we are no longer hunted. We are no longer separate. We are a flame that will not flicker out. The room erupted, not in applause, but in a rising chorus. Human cheers and Zalari song blending. A harmony born from fire. And the stars took notice. The new station, christened Concordia, pulsed with life, a symbol of cooperation, born of necessity and nurtured by resilience. But beneath the hum of rebuilt systems and shared laughter, a quiet tension simmered. Captain Elias Wren knew it well. Peace, true peace, was fragile. From the observation dome, he watched shuttles dart between ships, carrying supplies, families, memories. The stars outside looked peaceful, deceptively so. Status on the Corvani battle group? He asked, not looking away. Kamara's voice came through his comlink. 72 hours out. 4 dreadnoughts, a support wing, unknown escort configuration. They're coming heavy. Celera joined him in the dome, her presence steady. We're not ready, Elias admitted. But we're closer than we were, she countered. Down in the command integration lab, engineers worked around the clock. Human fusion reactors were now tied to Zalari harmonic stabilizers. A Corvani power converter, salvaged from wreckage, was being retrofitted to power defense cannons. It was audacious, impossible, and it was working. This should be impossible, muttered Chief Engineer Harlow, staring at the control schematic. Veasan, her Zalari counterpart, replied softly, That's what the Corvani think of us too. Elsewhere aboard Concordia, Commander Thessa, Celera's niece in a respected voice among the younger Zalari, spoke to a gathered crowd. This alliance is not survival. It is rebirth, she said. We sing not because we are safe, but because we choose to create beauty, even when the darkness presses in. The speech rippled through the fleet, morale rose, and spies listened. Unbeknownst to the new allies, a cloaked Corvani vessel lingered beyond sensor reach, observing every move, every signal. Inside, Commander Varan of the Corvani Shadow Wing transmitted his report. The humans have unified the prey. The fleet is no longer prey. They are changing. They will resist? Asked the voice on the other end. More than that, they believe. A pause. Then make them bleed before they become a beacon. Back aboard the Osprey, Elias met with Admiral Reyes and Celera in the war room. They'll test us before the main fleet arrives, Reyes said. Expect probes, precision strikes, psychological tactics. Celera nodded. They will whisper fear before they bring the storm. Then we won't whisper back, Elias said. We'll sing, we'll shout, we'll make them hear what it means to stand together. Outside, in the cold vacuum of space, the first of the Corvani stealth ships began to move. The storm was no longer coming. It had already begun. The Corvani came like a tidal wave. 4 dreadnoughts, a wall of steel and fire, surged into the system with brutal precision. Flanked by interceptor wings and pulse cannons, they launched a three-pronged assault on Concordia. But Concordia stood ready. From every hangar, ships lifted into the void. Fighters cobbled together from hybrid tech screamed to life, piloted by humans and Zalari alike. Defense turrets, enhanced by Zalari harmonic frequencies, lit the black with coordinated energy pulses. "All stations report ready," Kamara said, eyes locked on the tactical screen. "Then let them come," Elias replied. The first volley rocked the outer defenses. One of the converted cargo ships disintegrated under a direct hit, but not before launching its drones in retaliation. The dreadnoughts pressed forward, but met something unexpected. Disunity among the prey? No. A wall of resistance, orchestrated, precise. The Zalari's harmonics amplified shield performance. Human AI-assisted targeting found weaknesses in Corvani formations. Even the youngest soldiers held the line. And at the heart of it, Elias and Solera stood side by side, commanding not just a fleet, but a movement. Commander Thessa led the strike on the Corvani flanker unit. Her squad, piloting multi-species craft, danced through enemy fire, singing in their native tones. The sound carried across open comms, a battlefield aria. "Hit their power junctions," she commanded. "Blind them. Make them feel the chaos they created." Inside the dreadnought flagship, Commander Varan watched as his fleet faltered. "This shouldn't be possible," he muttered. "They're improvising. They're adapting." A junior officer spoke up. "They're united." Elias knew the cost. Every victory came with a loss. But then came the break. Solera's ship, the Valsar, took a direct hit. Fire breached the core. Her voice cut from the comms. "No," Elias whispered. "Life signs faint but present," Kamara said. "They're alive, barely." Elias turned cold with fury. "All units, target the Corvani flagship. We end this now." With surgical precision, the Allied fleet focused its fire. Human Zalari hybrid weaponry, overloaded beyond safe limits, cracked through Corvani's shielding. Thessa's squad delivered the killing blow, and energy lanced straight through the command deck. The flagship exploded. The other Corvani vessels began to retreat. Cheers filled the comms. The war was not over, but the tide had turned. Back aboard the wrecked Valsar, Solera was found, burned, injured, but alive. When she opened her eyes and saw Elias at her side, she smiled weakly. "You were right," she said. "The fire doesn't have to destroy." Elias nodded, eyes wet. "It can light the way." Weeks later, the Concordia Accords were signed. A new coalition was born, not just of humans and Zalari, but of every species tired of being hunted, divided, afraid. And in the vast reaches of space, where once there was only silence and shadow, a new song rose. A song of unity, a song of hope, a future forged in flame. To